guess I should probably send Ulf the level 2 lizard, huh?
Yeah, you need me to send my level 2
I'm
guard
not
over to you?
horribly concerned about it right now. I'm not horribly concerned. I know roughly what all of you can do at level 2. What I would like you to do is list your current hit point total in discussion for me so that I can see them. I am recording now. So that I can see them real quick, and that's the only thing I need to see right now. Zajad's format is perfect.
Do we actually roll, or
You
do we
can
just add max?
either roll just like we always do, or you can take the average, which is the easiest option.
Lanala provides.
I will accept Tursta. Lanala provides. I will accept that. For the record, I'm making no cuts. 8 is the absolute top of what I will run with. And there's 9, so I guess 9 is the absolute top.
I mean, I'd like to play, but
No.
it gets too much.
We're running with 9. It'll be fine.
Hax, I'm pretty sure that since lizards have 1 HP, you could use lizards as a unit of measurement.
So,
Jesus.
you could actually. That's pretty amusing. So, as you guys
being in a game where
are
I'm not the unit of HP measurement.
as you guys are settling in, getting your stuff together, figuring out who's bunking with who for those of you who can read and those of you who may not be able to, I'm not sure. As you get into your rooms and kind of start kibitzing amongst yourselves, you very quickly hear bare feet hit the metal decking much louder than you would expect as a loud banging noise of metal on metal starts and the shouting of a diminutive voice. Come on, you apes! All of you on the deck right this moment, or I'll have your bollocks of breasts added to the breakfast menu! And it is the bosun, who is a gnome wearing a full-length, like, pirate coat, leather breeches, and nothing else. As he is shouting, everybody can go ahead and make a perception roll for me.
Oh, it's been a while. Hang on, I gotta get my macro.
Ouch.
What check was it?
Perception, notice. I never remember what it's called. I'm famous for
Perception.
that.
Call it perception.
You need a space, Mal.
Ah, got it.
That may be
Wow,
higher. I'm
guys.
still doing the leveling up stuff.
No, it isn't. I know what changes with level up for cleric, and your perception score will not be one of them.
I don't get a blah.
Your wisdom score does not go up, and your proficiency bonus does not go up going from level 1 to level 2. So the only thing that might affect it would be your channel divinity, depending on the domain you have, but I'm pretty sure you don't have one that would affect that.
Oh, I meant. I know it doesn't go up, but don't you get so many points per leveling up?
Not in 5th.
Okay, thank you.
Skills in 5th are binary. If you are proficient in the skill, you get the proficiency bonus. End.
Got it.
As you guys are caught off guard, surprised by the yelling, whatever the case may be, 15 or better, you notice that the bosun is covered in very well sewn together scar tissue. You feel like huge portions of him have been reattached surgically at some point. anyone north of 20, which from my count is Honihaka and Sana, the flesh tones don't always match up, and you're pretty sure his right arm is larger than his left. But you don't have a whole lot of time for thinking about it, as he is banging a hard metal cudgel against the wall and like herding you guys towards the steps.
I might as well head up.
Sure.
Scrambling up there, yeah.
Lots of hissing and snapping, but he is being herded.
Following the crowd right now.
I will go. It is different. I don't think we've been up there yet.
Well, briefly before we were taken down here.
What? But that's not enough.
Actually, you kind of came
Can't look
into
at
like
everything.
a docking bay on the side of the ship. You have never been on the actual top deck.
Fair enough.
So as you reach the top deck, you're kind of herded up, like narrow, half ladder, half stair kind of construction onto a top deck that is a smooth, flat sheet of metal. It has railings to the port and starboard, but both the fore and aft are open. There's no protective railing there. And as you look around, from all of your understanding of like sailing ships, airships as appropriate, none of the normal trappings are up here. There's no sails, there's no bridge, there's no hustle and bustle of guys on deck worrying about things. You don't see weapons. The only thing you see is a rather sizable tower built on the starboard side, about 3/4 of the way back, which seems to be some kind of spotting tower or something of that nature.
Like a crow's nest, but like a building.
Right. It's literally like it's a large metal tower on the one side, and you don't see access to it, but you can only see 2 of the walls, so there may be a door on the backside. You're not really sure. And secured at several locations on this top deck are smaller, like runabout-sized aether ships. So they're small, they're bigger than like a rowboat, but smaller than a quote-unquote seagoing vessel. And they seem to be weaponized in some way. Some of them have like ramming prows. Some of them have actual like gunnery on board. And they all seem to be in a state of readiness, but not alert. So as you're all standing about on this ship, kind of confused, you've been hustled up this ladder and you're still waiting on this gnome, the gnome emerges from the lower decks, climbing up the ladder, and starts shouting at you again in his high-pitched, kind of squeaky voice that somehow carries terrifying distances. So then, none of you are sailing men or women. You're here as marauders. Do you know what that means?
Hired hands?
You murder things.
Fighters?
You intend to make pirates of us?
Keely crosses her arms. Keely, total sailor.
We're not pirates here. We're opportunists. Freedom fighters.
Dax laughs. Low metal laugh, pulls out his sword and says, I put this end in them, right?
That is usual way.
The individuals who had like the 20-something perception rolls can roll another perception roll.
18 not close enough.
No, you need to have a 20. That's the number.
God damn, Pepper.
She can see the truths beyond the stars.
Yeah, like that was high enough I had to whisper her specifically. You're here to kill, capture, and maim. We're here to take authority ships and their booty and bring it home. Nothing more. Well, actually something more, because I hear we're taking the bird girl to Bird Dad. But otherwise, you're here to kill, steal, and maim for the good of the people of Freeport.
How fitting of this hellscape to make a raider of us.
I didn't say raid, I said steal.
And if I can get away with taking stuff without having to kill people, that's ideal.
There is no getting away without killing for people like this.
I don't know about that.
Yell
Captain
louder.
seems pretty. Captain seems pretty pretty reasonable, kind of. Weird, but reasonable.
So the bosun walks across the deck, and he kind of almost waddles. It seems to be some combination of the length of his legs and the size of his belly. And he points at Honihaka with the cudgel. By the way, when I keep saying the cudgel, he has an aluminum baseball bat. And he points it at you, and he goes, "Now look here, Bigham. We're not talking about killing folk who aren't worth killing. We're talking about the authority. They'd kill you just as soon see you because you're out in the deep. You may as well put a blade in them before they put two in your back." And he clacks the thing off the ground.
That one's Honey, not not Bigham. Bigham's downstairs, I think.
Who's the authority?
He points at Trist with the bat. "You're all Bighams! Except for the little one."
What? He's perfect size.
I know nothing of this authority.
We met him.
What makes you so? Oh wait, we did.
The planner. He runs the ship.
No. That's not what he means.
You've heard the term a couple of times,
Well, right.
but you're right. You don't really know what he means.
Yeah, like my assumption was that the planner was the authority, right?
And he points over the side of the boat towards a direction. You're not really sure how he knows that's the correct direction, or even if it is. But he's pointing roughly straight ahead. The authority! You know? The civil authority? The idiots who originally tore a hole in space and time and caused all the problems here?
Did they steal the warehouse?
Does Keely know this?
Yeah, you know, you've heard of the authority. Like, your dad talks about them like they're a boogeyman. They're the reason the fleet travels around in a fleet and not individually, is they will impose quote-unquote taxes on people just because. So when Turstaw mentions the warehouse, the gnome kind of, as much run as he can, over right up in front of Turstaw. What do you know about the warehouse?
It was there. It got stolen. Probably Reality Rift.
Yeah, like the thing that took away and...
Turstaw, he's
that
like right up in your lizardy face. You can make a roll, like a perception roll.
Okay.
God damn.
You can now see, like, underneath, like, the bearded tissue on his face, there's more scars and stitching. His eyes are mismatched colors. The left one is a little bigger than the right one. You can see that underneath the hair on his head, there's even more scar tissue and stitching. His ears are slightly different sizes. Like, all in all, you are getting a very strange vibe from just being near this guy. The other thing is, being this close to him, you can taste, like, a faint, ozone-y kind of flavor on the air.
Ugh.
Right then.
Turstaw's going to squint and sniff and...
Wait. Do all of you know nothing about anything?
Keely puts her wing up. Keely knows something.
I know Lanala.
I'm from a world that apparently Bahamut nearly destroyed, but then got thrown here. So yes, most of us have no idea what's going on. In fact, I would hazard to say all of us don't know what's going on.
Keely
I know that which the
knows
ancestors
this.
teach.
So he walks back to, like, standing in front of the line of you, and he flips the bat over and puts the business end on the ground and leans his hands on it. All right, then. Well, so... Right. Where we just came from? Huh? The Freeport?
Evolve. Yes.
Right. So, originally, some midgets came through, tore a hole in reality, and ended up there. And then they started building ships out of magic and junk and parts of the island. That's why the Freeport's broken up into pieces, you see? So then they set those ships adrift to go find things. And to my understanding, that's where they found you guys, was on Arcaten. Thus, I just assumed that you knew things because you were on Arcaten, the oldest wreck that no one knew where it was and you happened to find. So, they sent these ships out, and these ships eventually come together and steal a bunch of worlds from hard-working folk and become the civil authority, headed up by these reality-dodging miscreants who think everybody else should just bow and kowtow to their bloody whims.
Out of context, that's the people that made Daxter, right?
Yes.
Would he know this at this point?
Yes, you would be aware that whatever descendants of your progenitors, of the Minoastrans, are now the civil authority.
Again, sorry, it's been so long. I don't like them, right?
I mean, you're
Like
not
the
a
average
fan of
Warforged.
them because you've been in a situation where you weren't a slave for long enough to realize that it's better.
Okay, sorry.
So, questions?
I look down at Vestral, or at Keeley, and I say, "These men truly do evil."
Dad always say bad things about these.
Sounds to me
Keely,
like they're.
trust Dad. Never met them, but very bad.
Well, they're the ones that made my progenitors.
Sounds to me like they're the ones that have been causing a deal of problems. Maybe they might even be responsible for having blipped us into this reality. Maybe there's some instability that's pulled us through.
I'm gonna look back at the bosun and say, "I trust the bird."
Yay! Puts wings up. Everyone trust Keely.
I do not trust Keely.
Oh, puts wings down.
Kren and I
Ancestors
give you a look.
Then.
Authority pokes holes in reality and steals worlds.
All worlds.
You beat me to it, Shoke.
Mm-hmm.
Looks over at Terstraw. And they make us non-meaty things, too.
Dead things happen, but stealing worlds, Lanala.
I feel like it wouldn't be in Lanana's best interest to have people's experiences stolen. If you steal a world, you steal people's experiences of that world. And you tax them, apparently.
Met someone who stole worlds, did not like him at all.
And then we're agreement. Probably not so bad killing these guys.
How did they not... Okay, this is out of character. How did they not... If they're able to poke holes into the world, are they trying to find the world they came from, which is the Free Republic where I'm from?
They're not from that world. You got grabbed at a different
yanked from-
point.
yeah. I forgot that. Sorry.
So if what you say is true, they tear holes in the sky and travel through them?
Yeah. Reality gating, that's kind of the whole concept.
Then they ride passage with demons.
Keely face palms.
Savage. They are demon.
Keely continues to face palms.
If you had said this sooner, I would have agreed.
Kren looks distinctly uncomfortable with that. With that statement.
With that summation of facts.
Yes.
Let me attempt to explain. Your gods, Honiaka, they step down from their plane, their place in the world. Yes.
I have no gods. I have only the ancestors.
So the ancestors, they live in a different place. Yes.
No,
They don't.
they
pass
are.
on.
They are in the water,
Yes.
and the demons come from the sky. They crack apart the sky in bolts of light, raining demons and monsters down on our world. The ancestors conjure storms to fight them.
So the ancestors are capable of controlling the sky and the waters, right?
I just put a hand in my face and go, ugh.
Keely's still face palming, but with both wings now.
In this case, the ancestors could be... The ancestors influence the world. Yes? That's what you're telling me?
They watch our deeds, and we join them when we die, to fight the demons.
These guys are using similar avenues to do similar things, but breaking things instead of helping them. Think of it that way, it'll help.
It does not seem to help, but he decides to be silent.
Good try, Grey Elf.
They're bad, we're good. If we want to stay on boat, we do what he says. Sound good?
Fine.
Keely game for destroying bad things. Dad would be proud.
I accept your logic, compatriots.
Want to see new worlds.
So the bosun cracks the ball bat off the deck twice and goes, "Good enough! You're dismissed. Back to your quarters or the mess or wherever. The sailors have actual sailing work to do."
Grumps.
Keely, even you said you don't understand how this ship works.
Like, there is a course correction during the conversation. None of you are really sure how it happens, and it literally just kind of bears to a side, makes a turn, and makes a turn back to kind of pass this rocky outcropping that you're really not sure where it's stemming from or where it ends.
This is fascinating. Could I watch like the sailors see how they actually operate the thing or attempt to make sense of it?
No one up here is driving at all.
That's even weirder.
Everyone on this
Where's all the
deck
crew?
is kind of just, as they're coming out of their various, like, bunking areas and up several of these staircases like the ones you guys climbed out of, they're going about the business of unlimbering and prepping these smaller aether ships. These little runabouts and stuff.
Is there steam catapult?
There is no device of that nature that you can see with your limited understanding.
With Keely's more understanding of the magic ships and knowing that this isn't a complete one, can she try to observe to see if there's anything that is running a source of magic?
What is on the deck? No. Because on the deck, as far as you're concerned, it is all just weird techno babble witchcraft. Those of you staying on the deck, like actively looking at things, can roll a perception roll for me.
Less actively looking and more naturally curious reptile.
Trish just wants to figure out how this stuff works. You think it's really cool?
What roll is this? Another perception?
If you're staying on the deck.
Ah, I am not.
I want to look and see and learn.
So, in the short period of time you have before you are hustled off the top deck by guys who belong there, Krenin, you do see there is a launch mechanism for these smaller airships. And when I say smaller airships, they look way more like if somebody took like the Huxley, the Civil War submarine.
Hunley, you mean?
Yeah, the Hunley, and cut a view screen into it and mounted like a single turret on the roof or mounted a ramming prow on it, and a couple of guys get in it and go to town. Like, it's normally a pilot, a gunner, and an engineer, or if it's the ramming version, it is a pilot/engineer and a bunch of boarding troops.
So I have correctly guessed the combat nature of this vessel.
Partially. And then they are launched by a system, but it is way closer to like the British or Russian system of they launch off of a ramp than it is to the US system of an actual catapult assembly. The Turstaw, what you get, like, looking around, you get the feeling that being on the top deck is not always safe, because the guys on the top deck are linked into some kind of running, like, line rig that's built into the decking and is secured with something. and there is a marked degree of always having your tie-off line secured, which you at that point realize none of you have. Keeley, you don't really pick up a whole lot of anything. It's kind of like, oh, we're on a ship that I don't understand. This is frustrating to me.
God damn it. God, actually, the equivalent. I can't even think of one.
Handle that later. Then where was I? Keeley, Trist, when you're looking around, like trying to figure out how they drive this thing, in that tower that you saw way up in the top, there are guys spotting, and there is someone at a wheel type assembly.
So a helmsman of sorts.
Yeah, you don't know how it works because that's way far away from any kind of steering, but that seems to be what's going on.
Right.
Zarish with a 20. You pick up the thing about the ships launching and stuff. The other thing you pick up is that there is some kind of a elevator type system to bring more ships from somewhere below decks to this level.
Cool.
And after you guys kind of put all that together, you are kind of hustled below decks by some guys in... It's like if you painted a diving suit caution yellow.
I allow myself to be hustled below, but at some point I would like to present myself for training.
They will not. And that is made very clear to you that you are here because the captain says you can be here, and they have no interest in putting themselves in danger.
Marauders.
What
We're
about,
marauders.
Dax's request of where the sick bay is so it can be useful.
There isn't really a sick bay. There is a doctor who performs surgery in the mess hall when it's combat.
Okay. Then somewhere to fix boats. He's getting irritated having sitting around doing nothing so much.
Okay, so you guys have a sizable period of time where, to your eye, nothing changes. You are sailing across this expansive miasma of blue-green goo to all sides. And you have no idea what you're sailing towards. You're not allowed on the bridge. You are allowed only limited access to, like, on-call areas. Dax, you are allowed into the, like, engine room area when they determine that you are capable of fixing something. But then you are immediately confronted with a just wall of human man meat standing in your way, who makes growling noises at you when you try to get by.
Would that be Horgrim being a jerk?
Yes.
Okay.
It's who?
Horgrim. He's the barbarian that basically nearly killed me, so I would avoid him. I will, however, mess with Agramandia. In the event that I can actually do that.
Oh yeah, the feather thing.
Yes! I am totally stealing a feather from you and going to put it under his nose.
He did not understand why Grey Elves have such need for Keely Feather all the time.
Well, I mean, I need it for spells. I would nudge anyone to discourage me of that.
Horgrim, Dax, is like 6.5 feet tall and wider than any human you've ever seen.
So he's about my size.
He's shirtless and wearing like baggy pants of a design that you're not really familiar with, and his entire body is covered in tattoos, which are then encased in like weird metal framing you don't really recognize. And he seems rather disinterested towards letting you into the actual engine room. And he's rather disinterested towards letting anyone in the engine room.
That's fine.
There's a lot of angry, growly noises and like grunts of casual disinterest.
All right, I won't go in there, meat man. Where can I go to be useful? I can fix things.
More grunting
Man.
and
Wrong
growling.
guy to ask.
Like,
Wrong guy to ask.
He has no interest in words.
I would call over to you and say, wrong guy to ask. Ask his friend.
You
one
you
in the
can't
later
see anyone beyond him. There's just Meat Mountain in the way. He fills the door.
Keely looks at Trist. If we want to ask him to let him go in, wouldn't bad idea with Feather.
This guy isn't the one I'm talking about. Agramondius is the one that was wearing the weird pants.
And as you say his name, you hear a call from deeper in the room. Let them through, Horgrim! And the man mountain kind of irritably moves aside.
Thank you, man meat. Walks past him.
We have somebody who wants to help you.
Keely don't think he cares.
So as discussed,
Agramondius
Agramondius is a male dwarf with a clean-shaven chin and a mustache approximately 11 inches to a side. Said mustache is currently looped up over either ear, so it is out of his way and can't be pulled into any machinery. And he is, instead of how he was dressed the last time you saw him, he is now wearing what appears to be a pair of bicycle shorts, so like super tight-fitting shorts, a leather vest covered in pockets which is full of tools, and the same ill-fitting work boots. And he is literally like inside of some kind of large mechanical apparatus you do not recognize.
Well, Dax, I wish you luck. I would pat you on the shoulder. Because I have absolutely no idea what I would do here around this.
Can I roll anything to start getting an idea of what I'm looking at?
What are your tool proficiencies?
I don't remember how to see that.
Bottom
You would
left
just
corner
have
of the
your-
character sheet.
Yeah, you would just have a list of tool proficiencies somewhere.
I don't think I actually wrote that down anywhere.
Okay, so what you're looking at is a dwarf, weirdly clothed, hanging half out of a large metal drum. And when it becomes clear to him that you don't know what he's talking about, because it's like talking to Gar, he just starts rattling off a string of scientific terms that you don't understand. He just stops, looks at you, points at a wrench on a table, and goes, "Give me that."
I can do that.
And then he
Good.
retreats back into the drum.
Good, glad we sorted that. I'm gonna go to the mess hall and play music. Frankly, that's the only thing that I'm gonna be any good at here.
Honestly, if there's any place Keely's allowed to go on deck to watch the outside areas, she'd probably just secure herself there. 'Cause she knows she has to.
There are... So as you guys roam the ship, you are directly below, like your quarters are directly below the flight deck. You also come to realize very quickly that your quarters did not start out their life as quarters, and probably started off their life as some kind of brig. The rooms are very small. You determine fairly quickly that the doors that you can close are barred. Like there are bars, and the sheet metal that has been welded on top of them was welded for privacy at a later point. And that the reason these prison-type cells are on this deck is because they're less concerned about them being destroyed in the event of some kind of catastrophic crash on the top deck. Below that, as you're wandering around the ship, because you are allowed to roam a fair bit, there is a gunnery deck, and then another gunnery deck, which are full of weird weaponry you've never really seen that's designed to be run out, fired, and retracted. It fires in broadsides like an old-fashioned sailing ship. And the gunnery on each deck is different, so it looks like one gunnery deck is designed for some kind of long-range fire, and the other one is designed for more close-range, high-speed firing. And then the decks below that are various storage decks, the actual, like, quarters for the various flight crews and the guys who serve on the ship. And then the lowest deck is the deck that has all of the additional runabout-sized ships and slightly larger, like, landing craft and stuff, which can either be taken to the top deck and launched or kind of pushed out of a hole that can be opened in the side of the ship. But when they're pushed out of the hole, they don't really launch at speed, and it's way more dangerous in combat. Several of those decks, Keeley, have some kind of spotting balcony where you can very easily spend a large period of time without anybody messing with you, because those balconies are only really there for combat damage control and, like, target acquisition.
Cool. Should just hang there, kind of gaze off into the distance a lot.
I would head down to the mess hall and play music, even if it's just background for the other conversation. Which would probably count as Song of Rest, not that I think anybody needs the health back.
So there's a week, about 10 days of travel. And you only know the period of time passing because the ship keeps very clear shifts. And every time there's a shift change, you know how long that's been. And because there's been a shift change, you know that it's been a day, and so on and so forth. And it becomes kind of this strange repetition of having nothing you're supposed to be doing. You spend a huge amount of time sitting around, waiting, horribly bored. Eventually, you are taken in groups of no more than 4 and given instruction effectively on how to correctly sit in a ramming craft and not get killed when it hits someone else. So a couple of guys in the same, like, caution yellow diving suits take you to the actual, like, hangar bay and explain how the penetrating charges work, how the ship, like, breaches another ship, and how to jump out of it without getting slaughtered as soon as you do so. And the explanation is way farther from this is how it's done right and way closer to these are all the ways that I've seen someone die.
I pay very close attention to this.
So does Keely.
Me
Interested
too.
in this stuff?
Turstad's paying attention more in the sense of them describing how things can go wrong than actually grasping the import of what they're telling him.
And you're getting this lecture from, like, a pilot. So you're sure at some point a pilot has been the one to fuck the pooch. But from the pilot's perspective, the pilots have never fucked the pooch.
So, like real pilots.
Yeah.
So, for the tiny of us amongst the group, is this something that is accommodated, or are we not getting the same training?
You get a booster seat.
It is almost like a booster seat. But it's not a booster seat so much as it is like an insert that goes into the pre-existing seat so that all of the restraint hardware hits you in the right location instead of hitting you like with 2 foot above your head to the actual shoulder restraint. It's like the rig for a roller coaster, right? Where it's a crossbar that comes down over your chest. You get almost like a booster seat and seat narrower that is designed for you, and you guys get assigned, like, this is the pod you go in. When this pod is launching, you're in this one.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then, surprisingly, being in a world where lots of guys are different sizes, there are, like, this is one for a dwarf, this is one for a gnome, this is one for a halfling. The only individual who they have trouble, like, sizing his restraint harness is Tursta. They do not have a good system for Tursta, and they have to, like, cobble one together from an elf restraint system and parts of a dragonborn restraint system.
See, in my head, they basically just made duct tape with a quick release strap on it.
Couple explosive bolts and a prayer.
Yeah, exactly.
So they get everything all set up, everybody's good, and eventually, like I said, a week, 10 days out, one of, like, the random crewmen who has listened to Trist sing, chatted with you guys kind of in passing, comes walking through the mess hall, because it's pretty much the only place you can hang out without being in someone's way, and kind of taps on a table on his way by and goes, "You'll want to see this," and leaves and climbs up the ladder to the top deck.
Alright, and we'll head up.
Follow him.
I mean, I would.
I'll follow.
The reptile appears.
Indeed.
He just pops out of a. I feel like Trista's or not.
Fucking
Trista is
AC
just
vent
storming
just
through
collapses open and Tursta just kind of slides out of it.
Yeah, like he's in
He's
the
like,
rigging
"You like
and shit.
trades?"
I'm figuring he's constantly being shooed out of areas he has no right to be in.
Well, he thought
Or
he was
like
allowed to
squirt
go in
bottle.
all the holes because he found Agramondius inside of one of them, and he thought that was just something you did.
This wonderful image of him having a squirt bottle on the ready for Tursta. Or not. Yeah, Tursta.
But, Ulf, assuming Tursta actually is able to at least get some understanding of what the restraint rigs should look like, since it seems like as good a time as any to bring it up, assume he is paying very particular attention to Callie's, just any time they're in the vicinity of that thing.
Okay.
Make sure she is safe.
She's a tiny thing, yeah.
She is tiny thing. Must be safe. I feel like some people aren't even aware that Callie's around sometimes.
As you guys climb up onto the top deck, you see kind of why the crewmen thought you might want to see this. So you have sailed for weeks at this point, because you had a considerable period of time from Akaten to the Freeport, and then you have had this, like, 10 days to make it to where you are now, where you are right at the edge of the Drift of Jeratin, which is the kind of nebula, for lack of a better word, that hides the pirates. And out beyond it, you can see, finally for the first time, because it's been like sailing through pea soup fog made of Aurora Borealis for weeks. And now as you hit the edge, you can see that it's almost like an ocean of rainbow-colored glass, stretching as far as the eye can see, and above it there's just kind of this infinite, murky blackness that is the rest of the Aether Sea, the parts that you can't really travel through without considerable propulsion. So big ships can't really launch into it. Big ships don't have the force to make that translation, and that's what the little ships do. So the little ships on board, little runabouts, things of smaller size, they either have rockets or a more powerful lifting crystal than they'd really need, or whatever to affect, effectively dogfighting. And as you get to the edge and you're kind of looking and you're kind of agah about the whole thing, you hear a voice behind you. It's beautiful, isn't it? I always like when we leave the drift.
Leave the drift.
Very pretty.
It's amazing.
It is
No, I
impressive.
remember seeing this.
Everybody now, because the lighting has changed, everybody roll a new perception for me.
Nope. Distracted by a shiny object.
You need to roll it with advantage because you had already seen it.
What? Oh,
You and Keely need to roll with advantage.
Wait,
I'll get natural
which
20.
you?
I just roll again, right?
Tursta and Keely, yeah, roll again because you
Okay.
should have had advantage.
Aha! It's a big
Nope.
diff.
I rolled 88.
Keely, you are now 100% confident there are little blue halos around the bosun's feet when he's walking around on the deck. Every time his foot picks up, there is like a crackling noise that you can barely hear, and there are little arcs of electricity as he puts his foot back down as it comes back in range. And Wreck, on a natural 20, you can see the little lightning, you can smell ozone, you can see the little halos of energy, and you can also, like, when he opens his mouth, there is the faintest, like, mechanical hum. Just below where anybody should be able to hear it, but you happen to pick it up for that long.
This is no ordinary dwarf.
It's not a dwarf at all, he's a gnome.
No, I'm sorry.
Strange thing.
Listen.
And as you're kind of like getting comfortable, you guys are excited, you're not stuck in this murky, miasmic shit anymore. The whole boat starts to slowly descend. And the crew starts like buckling on helmets and big like rebreather masks. And the bosun, all right then, all of you, down below. You don't have the appropriate gear for this.
We'll get
All right.
maybe.
Down I go.
Heading down.
And as like he gets the last one of you down the stairs, you hear a loud metallic clang from all over the ship, and you can watch like the locking wheel on the door spin shut.
Okay, so all the compartment doors have been sealed.
Yeah, all the exterior doors just sealed. And a voice comes over the intercom, which you've heard a couple of times, but it's not used a lot. This is the captain. We're now entering silent operations to take observation of authority movements. Estimated time of completion, 4 days.
What does that mean?
It means shut up.
Stealthy observation.
Yeah, you can't hear anything. You don't hear like the characteristic hum of the engines. You don't hear the normal like feet running around. You actually watch like crewmen walk by holding their boots in their hands.
I guess I will take my boots off.
Keely looks
Same.
at his
Take my
paws.
boots off.
Your feet.
I guess I'm not moving for the next 4 days.
And it's like 4 days of cold food, no coffee, and miserable people as they take the necessary like spotting missions and observational work to see what's going on.
From where we're pushed in and that intercom comes over, is there like an alcove that I would know isn't used?
Yeah, you
within-
can find some place to stand silently for 4 days. And you,
'Cause I can't move. I'm
for the
metal.
record, you get an inspiration for the "I can't walk, I have metal feet."
Oh no! Oh no! I can't tell Keelam that happened to you. You're being nice because they need that to happen. I will keep us from. We will not vandalize you when you are incapable of
And
retaliating.
Oh,
You don't-
no,
it's
no.
not that
He
you
just can't
can't-
move. You get within my
Yeah.
range and try to mess with me, I will hurt you.
And after like an hour of Dax standing in this fucking cubby hole, Horgrim comes walking down the hall, and you are shocked by how silent Horgrim is. Because he's wearing all this fucking metal weird exoframe nonsense, and he's just down the hallway, and it is totally unheard. And he literally just picks up Dax like you would pick up a mannequin, like under one arm, and just walks down the hallway with him.
Still perfectly still. Joints locked.
Dax, he carries you all the way to the machine shop, which is like adjacent to the engine room where you've been working, and sits you on a workbench, like on your stomach, like face down.
God damn it.
And as you're laying there, you hear Agramondius, who walks up right next to your head and goes, "Just hold on for a moment. I'm going to give you new feet."
Please don't.
And he straight up bolts your feet and bolts on like rubberized footies.
Can I be in the area for this happening? Because it is hilariously fascinating to me.
And then
Everyone's just poking their
he
heads.
hands
Yeah.
you
Watching is like,
a metric hex wrench and your feet.
I'm guessing so I can put them back on afterward.
Yes.
I think Turstar may actually be watching this one.
He pops his head out of a grate.
But you literally have, you know, the little rubber feet that are on the bottoms of like bar stools and music stands and stuff like that? He has effectively put big square rubber feeties on your ankles.
I was trying to be cool. Dax standing still for 4 days straight, no problem. Nope, put fucking rubber feet on him.
Agramondius
imagine
has
the-
never found an issue he can't ruin.
But Zerish, imagine the static shocks you can give people when you find the right rug.
he like
can
he
do that
shot
anyway.
Someone for the first time.
Um,
he's like, I could work with
Wouldn't the rubber ground him?
It would
Shit.
no, it would I would build up a static electricity inside myself. It's like wearing rubber boots and running across the carpet.
Yeah, that.
So, as you guys are at this for like 4 days, eventually you are in groups of 4 or 5 taken aboard like scouting ships because they need an extra set of eyes and people are tired. What you come to figure out is right outside the drift. Well, not right outside, it's a considerable distance, but they're running these scouting missions in these little ships. There is a watch fortress. There is a literal floating island out in the Aetheric Sea with a huge obelisk full of angry civil authority officers just watching for pirates coming out of the drift. It's their whole purpose. And they have a large number of ships and like picket ships and blockade runners and stuff like that that are constantly patrolling the area. And what you're doing is spotting and keeping track of how many of them there are, what is their timing, how often do they run things, and trying to get the current patrol schedule before you make the run past it.
I will take notes.
Yar. Try to learn as much as you can.
Yeah.
Yarp.
That basic thing. I have
Notes
something
not
I
so
need to
much, but they told Turstar to look for things, so he is going to look for whatever they tell him to look for.
ask. Should we roll perspective
group-
or
Group skill challenge, roll perception, let's see what the average is, so to speak.
Just stop being bad.
fucking.
Checking something real quick.
Damn it!
I'm sorry, Rosen came up. What am I rolling?
Perception.
So far we've been completely fucking useless.
Yeah.
We fucking suck. Oh, thank you, Leah.
Leah doesn't suck so bad.
Taking notes, man.
So yeah,
I
you guys
mean-
are like charting it, and you're trying to put it together, but you're not very good at it. It is fortunate for you there are other people doing it as well. There are lots of these missions that go out, and eventually, as established after 4 days, there is a guy who kind of moves through the various compartments, and get ready, get to your place, go. The bosun comes for you guys, and he's carrying like an armload full of gas masks, is what they look like. And he's kind of passing them out to everybody but Dax, because obviously Dax doesn't breathe.
Can I put my metal feet back on?
Oh, absolutely.
Not yet. And Rek gets his, which they seem to be comfortable with making a Dragonborn one. And then Turstad gets his, which seems to be a Dragonborn one that they have haphazardly modified with some leather working and some gaffer's tape. But it works, and that's what's important.
Toriana didn't give me a mask.
And the bosun kind of calls you together into like a huddle.
Okay.
All right. I need you to go to your boarding pods and strap in.
Strap in. Like, into the bunks?
Be ready to go. In the event that you have to be launched, you need to be ready to go. Understand?
Understood.
Also, because the ship is now running on, like, reduced power. They're doing everything in their power to not make noise. You can see that he glows a little. Like, there is a faint blue glow just being in his presence.
Go to my pod and strap myself in.
Can I do a
Yes, you-
hold on, let me check. I think it's Arcana check or something like that.
Yeah, you can roll Arcana.
I'm gonna go ahead and get into my pod, and then I'm gonna put my metal feet back on. That shit.
I'm assuming we
Fucking
should be
fine.
armed.
Got no idea. You're not even sure it's magic.
Damn it!
In fact, you're fairly confident that's just the way gnomes look, and that your gnomes are weird.
Ah!
Every other gnome I've met in my life is weird now. This is the right gnome.
know
Only
that
this
the-
gnome is correct.
I know that the chat RP is a little bit late, but anybody who eats that is full for the rest of the day.
I'm
What's
RPing
hunger?
with in time occurrence,
I will
so
eat this.
Yep. I'm gonna set it into my pod.
Berry.
So you guys strap in. You're in two separate pods. Either one of them could have carried 6, but in the interest of keeping you split evenly, there's 5 of you in one and 4 of you in the other. And as the pilot comes aboard after you guys have strapped in, he's checking all the restraints, and haha, you guys all right? Oh, it'll be nothing today. It'll be fine. Ha. They're checking all your restraints and making sure they're properly, strapped in and stuff. And then he buckles into like a 5-point flying harness type thing and pulls down like his actual instrumentation where he can see things. And he's sitting a little above you. Like he has to climb up a little step. And then his head's in like a plexiglass bubble. And you guys can sort of see, because the front of the pod is still open, as the pod breaches the miasma and the ship is accelerating for the first time in 4 days, and things are coming to full power. And you breach the inky aurora layer that is the drift, and all of a sudden it feels like air again. You can feel rushing air rushing into the pod, even though you know it shouldn't be there. it feels way more natural to be out in this part of the Aether Sea than it ever did inside the Drift of Jeratin. And as you are going what you understand to be something close to this thing's full speed, like this is the full speed of the unmitigated disaster, the various warning lights start going off, and the sirens and yelling and scrambling.
Not this again.
As the pod you are in lurches violently into the pod next to you, which is the pod that your friends were in, and the pilot's head clangs off of the plexiglass dome rather violently.
Oh no.
No.
God.
Good.
There are sirens, there are klaxons. Both ships are sitting kind of like on their side, and you guys are strapped inside.
I don't like where this is going.
And somebody probably got hit with a rubber foot.
Somebody got hit with a rubber foot.
Ow!
Hold that thought.
It's a new experience for you, lizard. Enjoy it.
Well, since we now know the Lizard and Zerish were in the same pod, that would mean that Zerish, Honiak Haka, Rek, and Tursta were in the same pod.
Oh god.
Oh boy.
Put all the meatheads
So-
together.
So our pilot just went unconscious, yes?
You're a meathead. I am-
One pilot is unconscious, and one of them from the other ship, like crashing into him, is bleeding rather violently from a shoulder injury.
Jesus.
Okay. Which one is unconscious?
And you can roll initiative.
But which one's which?
Shit.
The pod with the meatheads has the unconscious pilot.
Okay.
Okay.
The one that's damaged has ours best roll.
I was just gonna say.
God damn it. They changed it.
No, they didn't change it. He hasn't started combat yet.
Oh.
There we go. Now you can roll initiatives because I correctly did the command. It's begin, not...
It's been a while. I can't remember how to roll initiative.
apostrophe help in it, which somebody already did, and then just look at the entry by Avray.
Sorry, it's shifting around. I didn't notice.
I rolled a 1.
Problem is I get to roll with the advantage, and there's a way to do it, but I forget what it is. So give me a moment.
Damn it.
Initiative
39?
39?
That's not what I meant to roll.
How do you remove?
I knew how to do this once, and I just cannot mentally put it together now.
So
If I PM you mine, will it help?
probably not. If you look at the help thing that popped up earlier, it's apostrophe init add whatever your initiative modifier, initiative modifier, and then your name.
Okay, there.
No pluses, nothing fancy, just that straight.
Yeah, and there's a way to add you in at a specific value, but I cannot find what the hell it is to save my life.
There we go. Okay, thanks.
Well, first you had to have your character sheet set up, which I didn't. because I'm bad.
Oh, there we go. There.
23.
Hey,
Still
we
impressive.
mostly rolled pretty all right.
Shh, I rolled a 1.
And that looks like everybody. So, let me set the scene real quick, and then we'll hit the start button. So the group in the first boarding pod that went wrong is Turstaw, Rek, Honihaka, and Daxter. Everybody else is in the second boarding pod. The first boarding pod, your pilot is unconscious. He was knocked out in the initial crash. In the second boarding pod, your pilot is bleeding violently from a shoulder wound. As you have the split second before combat starts to try to figure out what happened, there is a huge gaping indentation of metal in the side of the boarding pod, which is what hit it and knocked it over, and it has ruptured slightly, like it's cracked, and there's something poking through.
Oh, gee.
Is it next? It's next. Turstaw.
Okay, so we've landed, and our pilot's head ricocheted off the...
And he is
essentially
unconscious.
Okay. Rek, another I guess Turstaw's just gonna go out.
Start attacking things, swinging wildly.
Yeah, get the hell out of the pod before something goes horribly wrong because we're in a confined space.
As you are the first to clamber out of the pod, you see a handful of metal. They're very large cannonballs that have pockmarked the deck and are slowly beginning to unfold, like they're opening like flowers. As you're looking around, it looks like they were fired at you from above and slightly ahead of the ship, where there is what you can only assume is an enemy ship. It is ship-shaped, but you don't know enough about them to be sure. But there are people firing at it, so you're pretty sure that that's what it is. Is there anything else you'd like to do with your turn? You have some movement left. You have an action, theoretically.
If there is cover, I will dive under cover, because it sounds like there's nothing there for me to attack immediately.
There are a number of other ships that haven't managed to take off, and there are the two ships that you guys are in that are not taking off.
I'll dive for cover, I guess, behind one of the hostile ships that hasn't taken off yet.
Well, there are no hostile ships on the deck. The only things that are on the deck with you that aren't friendly are these cannonballs that are unfolding like flowers.
Okay. I'll hide behind our ship then.
Okay.
That's there, and I know it's not about to explode. Hopefully, probably.
Sana.
We can get ourselves from the restraints easily enough.
Yeah, it's like a button and it pops open.
And is ship 2 have a hole as well, or are we getting out?
Yeah, the door was still open. They hadn't closed them for launch yet.
Okay, I will free myself from the restraint and move towards the pilot to see if this bleeding is shortly fatal, long-term fatal, or if he's going to be all right without any sort of aid.
When you get there, is heal still a skill?
1 second.
Medicine.
Medicine. You can roll medicine or nature. I would accept either one for this. Yeah, it's going to take you around. It would be fatal if not addressed, but you can bandage him up and he'll be okay. But that would be your action this round.
Got it. I will do that.
Also, hi.
Hello.
Keely.
Keely's gonna cast Mage Armor on herself and move undercover behind the ship that they are at.
Okay.
So she still remains close to the others. I'm just updating my health my armor right now.
Wreck.
What do you want? Oh, never mind. I will exit the ship and get my spear and shield out and look around, see if there's any hostiles around, and I'll just stay by the entrance of the boarding ship and basically just as a watch to protect the others.
Okay. Daxter.
Similar to what Senna did, I'm going to check on the guy that's knocked out on our...
Unconscious, but will probably be fine.
Do I have any motion or any action left? Would that even count?
I mean, you've taken the action because you went back there and checked on him, but you have movement left. You could get out of the ship and clamber behind it or something if you wanted to.
Yeah. Is it possible that I could at least pull out my shield as I'm moving?
Yeah.
Cool.
And as you're moving, same thing. Cannonballs opening. They're a little more open as each person moves down the initiative. They're starting to form into something. They're almost like Transformers. Like the metal plates are changing position to achieve some goal.
Is there anything I can roll before the end of my turn to help me identify what the hell these things are?
No, you've never seen anything like that. No, you've never seen anything like this.
Okay.
Honiahaka.
Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to our unconscious pilot man, and I'm going to unbuckle his restraints, if I can get them off of him, and lift him out of the ship with me and set him behind it.
Roll a wisdom roll for me. So D20 plus your wisdom modifier. How much attention did you pay in class?
Oh god, you're going to end up hurting him.
Fuck.
There's a lot of pulling on the restraints and trying to press metal things you think might be a release and not being able to get it open.
Can I just get frustrated and tear them off of him?
Make a strength check.
That's something I'm bad.
He just pulls the whole chair off the deck.
Your full action is to angrily poke some things and then tear the whole chair with the guy in it out of the deck plate.
Alright.
And then you so you guys are you're running outside, everybody's trying to get out as you see Honiahaka climb out of the first pod holding a chair with the guy in the chair like a baby.
Can I please talk without using anything?
Nope, not right now.
I'm going to cradling him like the swaddling
that's
baby
where you're
that
at.
he
You
is.
end up standing at the opening of the door with it.
Okay, I don't have any more movement after that?
No, that's your
Alright,
your
awesome.
heroic action of the day there.
Yes!
Trist.
I would climb out. It looks like Sana has. I saw Sana run up to the pilot, so he's taken care of. I would run outside to get out there with Keely and various other people who have obviously left their pods, and ready an insult, I guess.
Ready an insult.
I am pulling out a book and checking my word.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it, man.
So there's a half a dozen to a dozen of these balls that have collided with the decking. Or with ships. And they've been slowly unfolding themselves throughout the last several seconds And as it hits their turn to go, you see them enfold into ambulatory suits of like Roman hoplite style armor. So they've got, a breastplate and greaves and bracers that actually have like a gloved hand and helmets with, the big furry plume. But there's no one in the suit of armor. There's just the pieces of armor, somehow ambulatory. And as you're like, that's interesting, the one of them that had collided with Pod 1 and knocked Pod 1 over jumps up on top of Pod 1 and leaps off of it at Honiahaka, who is holding the chair. And the other two come dashing across the distance towards you. There are others going other directions, but these are the ones that you have to immediately be concerned about.
Bullshit.
So I'm betting your AC is less than 18.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 13.
So as these metal, like, pointy fists rain down a couple of blows on you, you take a total of 10 points of damage. Two attacks,
Alright.
each one is 5. So if you have DR for being a barbarian or something...
I do not when I'm not raging.
I'm reminding you that it exists because you might want it later.
We got resistance.
Oh, don't worry. I plan to.
Krenin.
All right. Well, first off, I slap that release button, get the hell out of the ship. Which, using my movement, can I see the either of the two that are beating up on Honiahaka in the chair?
Only one of them is beating up on Honiahaka. They each get 2 attacks. There are 2 running across the deck towards you, and there is one already engaged.
I'm going to attack the one that's already engaged by using my bonus action to cast X, and then I'm going to cast Eldritch Blast. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes.
I believe in you, Bolo.
Just checking something.
This is the moment that I wish my initiative was just a little bit lower than the enemies. I have
Yay.
It's amazing.
And you're attacking the one on Honiahaka?
Yes. Oh, that's shitty. 6 points, one of which is necrotic. And that the target has a speed reduced by 10.
Awesome.
Sarai.
Last.
But yeah, basically frost is forming over the armor. That's what's slowing it.
I guess I exit and try to shoot the one that's beating on Honiahaka and the pilot. Well, who has the pilot?
Aw, everybody loves me.
Protect Wolf. Keep him safe.
With my bow, because
I
why
don't
not?
ship that.
But protecting Wolfie?
You know my humor about this.
I probably don't hit.
It hits like the armor right above where the heart would be and glances off into the distance.
Well, that's a gone arrow. Okay. I think I'm done. I don't think I can do anything else.
Tersta!
Ambush predator, ho!
So yeah, pretty much. The reptile is gonna come leaping out from behind cover and jump the thing on Honya Hawk. Which means, hang on here. And since I'm pretty sure one attack is not going to kill it, I'm going to swing both at the same target. Okay, I'm assuming a 10 is not going to hit it.
No. No.
Okay, then presuming the 20 hits it, 5 damage.
Absolutely, 20 hits it. And aren't you like winging axes at it or something?
I'm straight up chopping him with hatchets. Like
Okay.
I'm 2-weapon melee.
This is like the least satisfying chopping at something you've ever had. You're like it doesn't even have bits inside. You're just kind of chopping at metal chunks, and you're like, this is disappointing.
Oh, I just remembered I could do. Oh no, I can't. Never mind. Sorry. I was gonna bite the shit out of it, and then I realized I can't.
Not
Budding
learned
metal would
anything
be
last
bad.
time.
Sana.
You
I'm
did it last
assuming
time.
the door to this is a medium-sized door.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm going to stride out of the ship, putting myself between the oncoming bad things and the people behind me, roll my shoulder left then right, and turn into a bear.
It's a good choice.
Aha!
Relax your
Bear!
shoulder, it's turned into a bear.
Relax, shelters turned into a.
And then I'm going to charge the ones that are aiming towards us.
Okay. That's a spell, so that's an action and a movement, so you're done.
No. Circle of the Moon. I wild shape as a bonus
Okay.
action.
Make your attack and or attacks. I can't remember if the bear gets multi-attack.
2, yeah. Starting with the bite.
He's a
Oh, very nice.
angry bear.
Mama bear.
Okay.
Double dice.
So we've met Fire Lord Nomi. This is Fang Lord Sana.
And maximum damage.
Jesus! I'm just gonna go sit over here.
Yep. You and me both, buddy. Let's get a Long
Clocks.
Island iced tea and let her just eat them all.
And fail.
Doesn't critical hit just mean max damage though? No,
No,
it's
you
double
roll-
damage.
You roll the dice twice. You roll double
Yeah.
dice. Double the dice.
Yeah, double the dice. The flat modifier remains the same.
So the bear barrels across the decking, full bloody tilt, hits one of the things, and its greaves literally just cease to be there, and now it's like a gnome-sized suit of ambulatory armor.
Wow.
Nice.
Bet on that.
Keely.
Okay, so sorry, I'm trying to remember what I add when rolling a attack to make sure it gets attacked.
If it's
Well,
a
what
spell
do you-
attack, it's proficiency and intelligence bonus.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, and that also presumes you're casting a spell that needs an attack roll. They don't all need attack roll.
Okay. Well, yeah, it was going to be attack. So, so I guess I would have to. Actually, hold on. What are they made of again? Like, what are
Metal.
They're just big cannonball things.
No, they are ambulatory suits of like Greek or Roman style armor.
But just the armor, right?
Yes, just the armor.
No one's in it.
Okay. Actually, all right. And I guess I'm gonna cast Blade Ward, which protects me from bludgeoning slash. No, yeah. Piercing, slashing, and bludgeoning damage. But I don't know if that works because that's weapon attacks, but are they the weapon themselves, so I don't know if that works.
A weapon attack, by definition, is pretty much anything that's not a spell. But it also only lasts for one round. So when your next turn comes up, that spell will wear off.
Right. Okay, then. Fine. I guess I'll just cast Firebolt.
Firebolt, right?
Yeah, Firebolt. Think that's it?
Definitely hits.
Okay. Sorry. Fuck!
Firebolt, I don't think you add your intelligence to.
Oh, let me check.
Okay, well, if you add your intelligence, just let me know.
It doesn't specify that.
If it doesn't specify, then you don't. Wreck.
I have supplied a handy GIF.
Still
Okay.
wreck.
All right. Which one would be closer to me? The one that.
The one attacking Honiahaka.
Okay, gotcha. I will charge at it and thrust into its side with my spear.
Okay.
Oh, so badly. I just got this image of Honiahaka beating the things with the chair.
Never mind.
Yeah, you hit the armor and it just glances right off it. It kind of goes wide.
Ah, crap. Okay, that's my turn.
Dax.
A deep breath. Turn away from the idiot with the chair.
You don't need to breathe.
I can when I need to. When I need to make a point.
He's clearing his vents and his
You can
fan.
at least mime the action.
I know.
And turn to one of the suits that charged up to us.
Well, they got stopped before they got to you. They're fighting the bear like 20 feet away.
I can still make a move to it, right?
Yes.
It's two, right? Still.
Yeah. One of which has
So
been
the
like
one-
halved in size.
No, the one not attacked by the bear is the one I'm focusing on now.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and attack.
That's a hit.
It's my long sword. That's it. Yay.
Honiahaka.
You are still
Alright.
cradling a unconscious pilot in his chair.
Oh, don't worry, I'm aware. Okay, so if I move behind the ship and drop this guy off, will I still have enough movement to
You
run
will
back
incur-
around and slash this guy?
You will incur an attack of opportunity unless you use your action to disengage.
Okay. Am I on like a ramp or anything like that?
No, you are literally just standing in front of the open door, and the whole thing is kind of sideways right now.
Okay, how close is this guy to me?
He's right up in your grill. Like,
I'm I'm gonna turn the chair around so that the pilot is facing into my chest, and I'm gonna bat this. Or first, I'm gonna use my bonus action to rage. So I'm just gonna yell at the top of my fucking lungs.
Okay.
And I'm gonna turn the chair around into my gut, and I'm gonna bat this thing in the face with the back of the chair.
I'm just calling this, man. This is like a wrestling match.
Hit a motherfucker with another motherfucker.
The patient to beat the motherfucker.
You can
Flash, what's wrong with you?
one, fucking one. You can have a point of inspiration.
All right.
2,
Slapper King.
roll a d20. You are not proficient at this.
Presume you still get strength though.
Doesn't matter.
Oh
So you're
my
gonna
God.
go ahead. It's a chair. It's got a metal frame. It's an improvised weapon. You're gonna go ahead and roll 2d8 for me plus your strength bonus.
Okay, plus my rage damage, right?
I lied. It's a chair. It's got a metal frame. Let's make it 2d10.
Okay.
Sajad, I love you for this so much.
I've never been so okay being relatively useless in a fight.
So John,
It's the job about to
after
kill a
this,
bitch with a chair.
after this, in our next level, I want you to take improvised weapon chair somehow.
There's a feat for that.
I think
actually.
there's a feat called like Tavern Brawler.
Yep, it's that, and it's all improvised weapons.
Jesus Christ.
So
Oh my God, dude! You just one-shot me with a cripple.
he takes the chair, and he's got the chair, and he's kind of got it by like the front of the seat and the back of the seat, and he just starts wailing on this animate suit of armor with it. And he hits it a couple of times. And as he hits it the third time, the pilot wakes up and goes, "Wait, what? What the hell? What the hell?"
And I'm just screaming. "Ah!"
As you pound this animated armor like into a pancake.
All right.
God.
Do I still have my movement?
And as you like lift the chair to give it one last blow before you're sure that happened, the restraints in the chair give way and the pilot falls on you.
I look directly at the guy that Dax is engaged with, and look at the one that Sana is engaged with, and then I look at what just happened over to Honiaka, and I say simply to the one that's still standing and relatively whole, "Hey, your buddy just got his ass handed to him by a bear, but that wasn't even as good as the one that got his ass handed to him by a chair."
God damn it, you rhymed!
Are you actually? Oh God.
I love
I have
vicious
no
That is-
mockery.
practice. I was actually trying. Yeah.
What's your
Hang on.
spell save DC? Is this psychic damage?
If it's psychic
Yes.
damage. You have
So
to
he did
understand
psychic
what I-
damage to me.
He takes no damage because he doesn't understand.
No, he doesn't have to understand. It still hurts him.
He's immune to
Oh.
psychic damage.
Oh,
The suit of armor is literally incapable of taking psychic-based damage.
damn it! I'm useless. I could try to do another
That
thing,
said,
then.
you can have an inspiration for rhyming. Because you
Can
try
I
that,
cast a spell?
you try that, and
Oh.
it doesn't work.
Yeah!
The two suits of armor that are left one will attack the bear and one will attack Zarish.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Sajad. Like, I was really hoping to do something
No problem.
like that.
The bear?
Look, one of your ass just got handed to you by a bear, and then Sajad something, and that guy's carrying a chair,
The
and I was
Zarish.
gonna rhyme a whole thing.
So I'm pretty... Do I hit the bear?
Connect.
Oh, actually, that means I hit the bear once because they get 2 attacks. So you take 5.
And this is Bear's second attack.
No, this is Zarish. The first 2, you get hit once, and then we'll do Zarish.
Can I say it missed
just-
so heavily that it gave me an attack of opportunity?
No, because... Well, do you have a class ability that lets you do that?
No.
Then no.
Okay.
And then Krenin goes.
Alright, as my bonus action, I shift the hex to the half-sized Helmhar. Yeah, I know it's not what it is, but it's... and now I'm casting Eldritch Blast on it.
Civil Authority Enforcement Automaton. That hits.
Yay!
Oh,
15
balls.
points.
Damn.
And his speed is reduced by 10.
Its speed is reduced by 25 as it explodes in a shower of sparks and metal.
God.
That is the best.
Yeah, but it wasn't a chair.
It was not a chair.
It was still effective.
Sarai!
Well, I mean, I guess I'll shoot the last one then. And probably miss. Maybe not.
That hits exactly.
Yay.
Tenerstar.
So the one on Honiahaka is dead. The one that the bear mauled is dead. There's how many of these things left now?
1.
Well, that makes it simple then. No! Yes! Take 4. Turstad does not like the hollow metal things.
Sana.
I'm going to maul into the one that's on Zerish.
Nom 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 nom.
Bite. Claw. Ah, miss.
How do you cast a spell with Arboreal?
Do you what?
Cast a spell.
Exclamation point, cast, and then the name of the spell.
Okay. Honestly, I'll probably just attack the one that's Zerish, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll just do another firebolt.
That's a 15.
Still misses.
Oh yeah, I forgot the first part was... No, but that's good to note. I forgot about the first part. Does
Wreck.
+5.
In your defense,
Okay.
Axley, you have not been as combat inefficient as Malexia.
Aw.
Yeah, that's true.
I've also made twice as many attacks.
Helps.
Okay. I think I'm going to try and hit this thing with my lightning breath.
You have party members between you and it.
Oh, never mind then. I'll just...
Please don't electrocute the robot.
No. Okay. Let's see. I'll just run up to it and try another spear attack. There we go.
That's a hit.
Hey,
Okay, and checking for spear. 1d6. Only 1 damage.
Dax.
Attacking. Add 10 to that right now. Still not enough, is it?
Nope.
Don't add 10 then. I'm stupid.
Honiahaka. You have a guy who's kind of slid off of you. You have the remains of the chair in your hands. And there's an enemy like 15 feet to your left.
All right. I am going to drop the chair. I'm going to take the greatsword off of my back, and I am going to, yelling at the top of my lungs, rush toward the nearest enemy, and I am going to slash it with my greatsword using a reckless attack to give myself advantage.
Here comes the crit.
It's low-level barbarian, right? Like, yeah, 15 doesn't hit.
Damn. All right, well, attacks against me have advantage on the next round because I did a reckless attack.
Trist?
This guy is... There's nothing else in the area, right? It's just this armor suit, right?
There are other armored suits fighting other clumps of, like, crewmen. But yeah, it's only these things.
Shit.
Yeah, granting
I could run up and stab him.
advantage to attacks against you for the round. All right.
I just don't want to get too close, because the moment this asshole hits me, I'll die. Yeah, I'm gonna run up and stab.
You don't have a bow or something?
I have a crossbow.
You could shoot him.
Shoot her!
Yeah, I'll try to do a shooting.
Just as like, I found something I couldn't insult to death. What do I do?
I know!
What do I do?
He grabs his crossbow.
Hurt them, hurt them.
Hurt them, hurt them!
Save me.
Hey!
Oh, for God's sake!
That's double the dice.
So I just sigh. Let the crossbow.
Guess that's... What's the crossbow damage? D8?
It's a 1d8.
1d8.
Yeah.
Then yeah,
2d8,
2d8
right?
plus your dex modifier.
Anybody else getting flashbacks to Episode 7 Star Wars? Chewie, can you hand me that for a second?
I don't. I was supposed to get a 5 for the attack bonus, but who cares? Whatever.
So the bolt goes into the breastplate, hits the backside of the breastplate, kind of rattles around inside of the breastplate, and then the whole thing falls in a clump right there.
These guys are no fun.
It's the Authority. I
So
think they're
as they should be going, you hear like the sound of booms as more things are launching from this Civil Authority ship, and the pilot starts yelling at you, "All of you in! All of you in! We gotta take the fight to them if we're gonna stop this!"
Done.
Yep. That's not in.
Which one?
The
the
one
one
with the
that's
pilot
injured.
who woke up
Oh.
because Sajad beat his chair against a fucking suit of armor till it died.
Well, now he doesn't have a chair, though.
Is Sajad no longer raging?
No, as long as I attack something or am hit each turn, my rage continues.
I think combat's over, though.
Combat is still going on as you guys kind of jump into the thing. You do lose your
Yeah.
rage because a round happens without you getting hit.
That's all right. That's why I got 2 per short rest.
Question.
Both.
Let me get Pepper, go.
There's only room for 6 in this, right?
There were only rooms with restraint for 6. He's kind of packing you in here like tuna fish.
That's cool.
All right, we're doing this.
How tall is this thing ceiling? Can I just hold on to it?
You're getting inside. Short.
No, I don't mean like on the outside. I mean,
I
can I
feel
like
like-
stand on the inside and
Yeah,
hold on to the ceiling
That's
so
way
I don't need
closer to how
restraints?
you guys are getting in here.
I feel like Dax
Okay.
should become a chair for the pilot because there is
No.
no chair for the pilot anymore.
And he gets it. He's like, "What happened to my?" Oh.
I'm also assuming that there isn't room for me to stay as a bear in this space.
No, you can get in there because they're kind of just cramming everybody into the tube.
Okay, I will
Alright.
be the last person in. Shove everyone in.
Very
I was
quickly.
Kind of back your butt in. Everybody will fit.
I was
Just
worried
like-
of fire, so I pulled you out.
Now that said, the pilot, who goes in first?
I don't care. I need to go in after Honihaka because I need to yell at him for using
go in
someone with a
first.
potential spinal injury as a weapon.
Leah, the pilot is kind of like, sorry, and is kind of like sitting on your shoulders to fly.
Well, it works.
And you guys are rocketing across the deck. He couldn't really get the doors closed like they were supposed to. So
Well, that's fine. There's a hole in the hull
yeah,
anyway.
so Sana has this kind of terrifying high-speed view of the carnage as this thing is rocketing towards the Civil Authority ship. The Civil Authority ship looks way more like, as discussed previously, like something from Cloud Pirates. It's got like aether sails and, cannons, and otherwise looks like a sailing ship. And as you guys are rocketing across the distance and there's fire licking across the outside of your vessel, and you kind of come to a terrifying, creaking crash landing on the deck of the ship because you're the only ones who crossed. And this ship is way smaller than yours. This is some kind of little picket ship. You kind of make a crash landing on the deck, and everyone can make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, joy.
Is this
Yay.
a threat that I can see so that I would benefit from my danger sense?
Yes, because everything about this is danger sense.
Gotcha.
My God, I rolled above 10.
I rolled 2 20s!
Oh my god.
I'd like to
I
look
am
into a new
legitimately
dice
Double
roller.
20s.
God fucking damn it.
I'm falling out.
Wow. With
Oh
a
my
plus 5
fucking
deck.
god.
Okay, if you made a 10 or better, you kind of come rolling out of the end of the ship with some amount of panache. And come rolling to your feet, kind of looking around, trying to figure out what's going on. If you
Correct.
rolled less than 10, you take 4 points of damage as you collide with the deck.
Oh god.
It's bad that I am literally considering giving Honiaka my bardic inspiration right now because I want him to continue this thing that is going on.
And as the last of you have come catapulting out of the end of the boarding pod, the pilot comes catapulting out. So, like, Leah comes rolling out and doesn't do as well as she might have, but it's not terrible. The pilot flies off of her shoulder, skids across the deck, and is left kind of, like, laying in a corner like, ow, that was a bad idea. That's why we have pilot seats. Ow.
You're earning your wings today, youngin'.
And as you are, like, getting your bearings on the deck, the only individual on the deck that you can see, there is no one else, is a human male dressed in very similar armor to the armor that was sent across. He's got a little short sword in one hand, and he's dressed in this, like, garish red and gold filigreed breastplate, and Krenin would recognize it as being similar to the
Minervans.
the Minervans from his world, and Zerish, Dax would recognize it as being similar to very early designs for your own kind. And we will pick up initiative at the top of a new round.
Does this guy actually look like a humanoid? Like, is
Looks
it like
like
a
a human.
Warforged? Oh, thank God.
Someone you can mock.
But
So it's just the one guy then?
he's probably got robots. He
Robots.
probably
So, Tursta, there is a guy, that's all you see.
Okay then. Cannot do 2 bonus actions in a turn, unfortunately. Just getting my notepad up here. Okay, Tursta is going to cast Hunter's Mark on the guy in front of us. Which is basically Ranger Hex.
Indeed.
And he's going to go charging in and try to attack him with a hatchet.
Go ahead and make your rolls.
Oh, that didn't work. Eh. Going to bet that misses.
"12 misses." He is wearing like a hoplite type leather breastplate now that you're up close.
Okay.
He's Sean Connery from Time Bandits.
There can only be one.
But that will be it, because bonus action to cast, and then move, and then action.
Sana.
How close to the edge of the ship is he?
He is
Oh,
right in the
God.
middle. He is not going to be easy to push off.
Ulf is smarter than me.
Intimidation counts as a full action, or no?
Yeah, it is your action to intimidate.
I'm just gonna charge him then.
Angry
Bite.
Bear charge. And suddenly bear!
Oh my god.
Get him, honeybee!
We're making Cougar proud right now. Coog, every
Small-
time this bear has entered, this bear is doing dynamic entry everywhere.
Every time.
Beautiful.
Except it's entry into other people's chest cavities.
That'll happen.
Claw.
Also hits.
And I will roar menacingly, but I'm not. It's not an intimidation check, it's just her.
Being in character.
Grandstanding.
He is bleeding. He's kind of clutching his side where your claw raked into him. He's clearly displeased at this eventuality.
It's less than pleasant.
How do gas masks
Keely.
work on bears?
Okay. Well, I'm going to cast a spell, but I'm gonna see if I hit first. Fucking Jesus! What even is today? Okay, it was.
That's because today is either crit or miss. There is no in between.
It was gonna be magic missile, but that's shit. Just because
You don't have to hit with magic missile. You just say I'm casting magic missile.
Yeah, you just,
Yeah.
you just
Yeah,
cast
it
it.
And then you
auto
roll
does that.
damage.
God damn it! I missed that when I read it.
Now that being said, there's at least one spell that blocks it, but yeah.
Yeah, spoilers, he doesn't have it.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Exclamation point cast magic space missile.
Did.
Then hit 6.
Thank you. What?
That's the same error it gave me when I tried to cast last time.
Okay, let me just do this manually. So I'll have to. It's 3 bolts. So does I roll?
Yeah, just roll
one
3d4.
time, or 3d4. Okay.
Alright, I'll clear up this chatter.
Thanks. Oh wait a minute. No, it says 1d4 plus 1, but it says 3
It
bolts.
creates 3 bolts. Roll 3d4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it'd be 3d4 plus 3 since all of them are hitting the
Will
same
be
target.
3d4 each one plus 1. But if in case there was some kind of damage mitigation, but there
Yeah,
isn't.
I just figured.
So
was
it's not
supposed to be the
actually
same damage
7. It's actually 9.
Indeed.
You did 3d4 plus 1. It creates 3 missiles, okay?
Yes.
Each missile does 1d4 plus 1, so it should be 3d4 plus 3.
Ah, okay. I'll change
Wreck.
that.
Okay, spear time again. I'll rush up and thrust my spear into him.
Do you have smite yet?
Yeah, I got divine smite.
Oh god, if you crit, you've got to smite him.
Because you declare
Can I?
after.
Yeah, can I also cast divine smite as well?
Well, no, you rolled a hit.
Okay, hang on.
Because as a paladin now, you rolled a hit and then you declare if you're smiting.
Yeah, that.
Which
Yeah,
is
Paladin's one of the ones that can do that.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I've seen paladins do terrifying things. That 20 comes down. It's like, I'm going to slap the biggest spell
Well, 'cause
slot I
that's,
have on this.
that's what it is. Oh, I rolled a crit? Okay, then I'm smiting. That's not a crit. You could still smite if you wanted to, theoretically.
Yeah, why not? Oh, that's a cast, right?
Yeah, you
No.
use up a spell slot to do it.
Yeah, you just add 2d8 damage to your total damage. And you
Okay.
expend a single spell slot.
All right.
I feel like the boss fight music is currently playing.
You need your weapon damage, too. So d6 plus your strength
Okay.
bonus.
Right.
So as Rek buries this spear into the enemy, like right there, in the armpit, and it just kind of keeps going, and there is just this plume of otherworldly light as it comes out like the upper side of the shoulder through the clavicle, and this guy just kind of ceases to function in any meaningful way.
Woohoo! Killing blow.
Yeah.
You did not plan on like crits and stuff as soon as you hit the deck. Let me tell you what. As you kind of look over the side, you're like, is everything okay? Is everything okay? Is everything on the ship fine? You look over the side, and the ambulatory suits of armor have kind of just stopped. They're still there. They're still standing. They still appear to be vaguely functional, but they are no longer moving.
Being controlled by one thing.
We have killed the cyber controller.
Good to know that's how these things work.
So when you said ceases to be, you mean the dude just kind of poofs into a puff of magic
Like
smoke?
there is a there is a burst of platinum white light, and his remains are not there. There is a breastplate, some greaves, the little skirt thing, the helmet, the actual gear he was wearing, but his actual tangible form has ceased to be.
Well, that was highly effective.
This
I
bird
go,
has ceased to be.
Can you go poke those remains and take a look at them?
Dursta's going to pick up the helmet and try to put it on his head.
Does not fit.
Ah.
Was not built for lizard head.
It'd be a good
Can I
look,
look
though.
inside the helmet to see if there's any type of like control?
There
What I'm looking for
are-
is a control mechanism.
There are a bunch of, like, metal dimples inside the helmet. And as you guys are, like, going through this guy's remains, the pilot is running for, like, the helm and going through whatever procedures it is to decrease elevation and bring it alongside the unmitigated disaster.
I moved to escort him to the. Like, there, we don't know how many other living crew might be on the ship. Like, I'm assuming there's got to be somebody there that needs to be beaten on.
You find no one. You find more suits of armor and, like, floating swords, but none of them are moving any longer.
That is.
Can I try to put the helm on my head?
Sure, you can do that.
They're just fucking like taking turns.
Oh, son of a... I had advantage on that attack.
So put it on. What? Anything
So
happen?
you put the helmet on your head?
Yeah.
So Dax puts the helmet on his head and immediately stops moving.
Oh,
We will get to that in a second.
Oh damn it!
As you guys are, like, poking through this guy's stuff, he has a total of 3 swords. You recognize from poking around the rest of the ship, 2 of those swords are animated objects. They are swords that fight for themselves. And the third sword is an actual sword of some kind. It's kind of fancy looking. He has, as established, he has a suit of leather armor that is fairly fancy looking. And as you are descending and making your way back towards the unmitigated disaster, you realize that how many of these suits of armor were fired at the unmitigated disaster and why the response on the top deck was kind of lackluster is the entire, like, port side of the ship had been peppered with these things. And as you are descending, you see Horgrim just throwing these suits of armor wholesale out a hole in the side of the ship. Just one after another.
So they're not super worth keeping it. What
Dax.
appears.
You are totally overwhelmed with the number of bodies. All of a sudden, you go from being aware of your form and how your form works, and obviously, you're not really aware of that, right? It's it's a subconscious action to do the things you do. You don't really think about moving, and all of a sudden, there are several dozen bodies that you have to consciously think about making do things. So I need you to go ahead and roll a wisdom saving throw for me.
My advantage.
Advantage?
Not an actual advantage. It's just my best saving throw.
Ah, yes.
Hey!
May not be good enough.
So you kind of freak out a little. You kind of throw a total shipbird and tear the thing off your head and kind of throw it across the deck. With the realization that you're not sure you could take it off again.
Yeesh.
okay.
So, curious question: how high did I have to roll to be able to take control of the suits?
I'm not telling you that.
You were right over there, Dax.
Nor will I even confirm it was an option.
So these swords, are any of them two-handers?
No. They are, in fact,
All
all
right.
short swords. They are all Roman-style gladiuses.
All right, all y'all.
I mean, can I inspect the sword and see if it's worth replacing
Yes.
my rapier with?
It is a +1 short sword.
Tursta would not bring this up, but I am going to bring this up out of character. I think I'm the only stabologist who actually gets into melee who uses finesse
Yeah,
weapons.
I was gonna say,
Other than
I don't
maybe,
need
Tara.
to...
I think I use a finesse weapon.
Technically, I have one, but I'm not really using it, so.
I would be shocked as shit if you're using dexterity for your attack rolls there.
No!
Oh no, me no.
I'm happy with my rapier. Besides, I'm not going to be in melee, so I would say that it probably should go to somebody who's going to be in melee.
Are gladiuses finesse weapons?
Short swords are.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
yeah, you said there was some self-fighting swords?
There are animated swords that are controlled by the helmet.
Oh shit. Nope, avoiding that shit.
You know what? I'm gonna go pick up the helmet. I'm not putting it on. I'm just taking it with me.
Okay.
Oh, that doesn't come back to hurt us later.
I vote we give the short sword to the lizard.
I'm
Yeah,
not
let's give
fighting
it.
that.
Let's give it to the lizard.
Yes.
Hey,
let's
Tursta,
give-
you like weapons, yeah? You like weapons, yeah?
Yes.
I hold it out to him. Or no, I would actually make to toss it, just to make sure you know what's going to happen.
He will catch it if you're going to throw it at him.
Yeah, I'll toss it at you. Toss it at him. Pointy things for lizard man. It is dead, yes.
Pretty good. The weight's pretty good. The balance is good. You don't hate it. It's kind of ugly, but it's okay.
It's not a hatchet, but it'll do.
I would grab one for Keelan, but
Well, I think there's only the one magic one, right?
Yeah, that's the only
There's-
actual magical sword that has magic as
Yeah.
a thing. All the other ones are just if somebody can figure out how to use the magic fighting hat, they can make the magic fighting swords work.
Yeah, that's been grabbing them.
Actually, who I need to go
Grab
talk
the
to.
helmet, so.
I would like to look at the armor.
Go for it.
The armor is just leather. It is dyed like crimson red and chased with gold filigree. And it's got a big, like, stylized M-shaped crest on the chest. It's all like one suit. Chest, the little skirt thing, greaves, bracers. It would match
It's
the
just
fighting
fancy,
hat.
though.
It's just fancy. It's not magic. But like, it has a cape and stuff. It is fancy.
I like fancy things. I don't want to wear it necessarily, but I'll pick it up.
All I'm saying is when we need to infiltrate a place, we've now got some authority armor.
I
Right?
was just about to say, these are very valuable costumes. If no one's going to use them...
I doubt it fits me.
I hold it up to myself. Does it fit me?
I don't know. Do you look human, gray thing?
You know, Dax,
Of-
I was being nice to you.
Of the
No,
individuals
right, oh,
in the
nothing.
group, Trist or Trist would have the best chance of getting it on their person.
I'm going to hold on to this. Put it in my little bag
Keely
of
could
tricks.
probably get it on her person, but she would not be able to fly, and in general, it would not be comfortable.
I'm
Thank
too
you.
short.
He's just got the swords.
And you have the wrong, how do I put this delicately,
Oops.
yeah, chestal affectations.
I'm going to add it to my disguise kit. You know, so
I'm not sure
on my
she has
costume.
really boobs.
So as you come alongside the unmitigated disaster, somebody drops like a metal boarding plank over the side, and it kind of, hitches. And the bosun is standing on the far side. And looks directly at Trist and goes, "Permission to come aboard!"
Granted?
And he kind of waddles across the boarding ramp and hops down, looks around. So then, not bad for your first run as a marauder.
It was the bear and the crazy guy with the chair.
Nobody died.
Quickly
Yeah, I'm
looks
actually
at the
pleased with
bosun.
this.
Permission to go back to the repair room. I need to speak to Agamemnon.
Denied! We have to have
Monday.
conversations. Keep up.
The pilot is all right, yes?
Oh, don't worry. He'll be fine.
What about the one in our ship? He was bleeding pretty bad. I know Sana took care of him,
That's
but
the one who will be fine.
what about the other one?
He's the one piloting
And he-
the ship. With
Yeah, he
everything
looks
on.
at him. He's literally like
Oh.
standing at the wheel. He's like, Vance is fine.
Okay.
He always flies better after multiple concussions.
So then, I've been directed to make you an offer.
Right?
You can come aboard, and we'll continue under our power, selling this vessel at the first opportunity, or the captain is prepared to make a gift of this and send you on your way.
This ship? We don't know how to pilot it. I mean, I'm not
And
complaining, but
he jerks his thumb at the helm and goes, "There, you can keep Vance."
No crew member.
Hi, Vance. Waves.
Like he's like climbing down from the wheel. He doesn't know what's going on. People are saying his name.
We can have the ship. Looks
I
to
mean-
the others. We can have the ship.
I mean, sure, but isn't it one of those authority vessels? Wouldn't that get us some unwanted attention?
Pauses.
How do you think we get boats?
Fair.
Can we paint it? Or change it?
Can modify, yes.
How do you think we get boats?
No. Question.
That's no, it's fair.
Statement,
I'm-
not question.
Well, I would ask the good captain for some.
When
you know,
Keeley says statement, not question, he goes, "Statement, not question."
Keely pointed at herself. Statement, not question.
They literally just devolve into shouting that at each other at this point.
Just, that's amazing.
While the two of them are shouting at each other, I just kind of look over to Vance and I say kind of sheepishly, "Would you like for me to retrieve your chair?"
Didn't it turn into a pancake?
Also,
No.
you guys would notice the entire time he's on the deck of your ship, he has one hand behind him holding onto the ramp.
Right, that makes sense. We would need, you know, heading from the good captain so that we know where to find Keely's parents. But
Like I said,
mean,
you can keep Vance. Vance is like, "Wait, what?"
Hi, Vance.
I don't know. Is this a good ship, Keely?
looks like a decent one, and it didn't take too much damage by the look.
Really somewhat nervous about just Grey Elf Comet. But yes, we need ship. We would have to get another ship later if we don't get this ship now. We need the ship.
I mean, I'm not opposed to keeping the ship.
I'm game.
Do we know its name?
We make name. That's the important part. When you get ship, you make name.
Bad luck. Renaming the
Oh,
ships.
what? What'd you say?
Bad luck. They told me that in Victoriana. Bad luck.
You've
Don't rename
Bad,
it.
bad luck. What bad luck? Name
It's
ship?
bad luck to rename a ship.
Yes.
Hmm.
And you say you're a sailor.
I think sailing works a little different here, Kirsta.
Well, Keely's actually pondering that. Usually make ship, not or buy ship with no name. Never had to rename ship.
Even where I am from, the sailors do not rename the ships. They are
What
passed down.
is the name?
Is there a sign of some sort on the ship?
Yeah, I mean, it's painted somewhere.
Yeah, it's painted somewhere. We'll find it. So do you guys want to keep, like, out of character, do you guys want to keep the ship, or do we want to go with Agramondius and Horgrim?
Oh, sure, I'll keep the fucking ship.
I'm not opposed to keeping the ship.
But the problem is we're gonna have to deal with stuff like training and like, you know, only one person actually knows how to somewhat fly these ships, and not this ship. This is a different ship, I'm sure.
Out of character? What's the problem? We got Vance.
Yeah, we do.
That is one person dealing with the
Teach
ship,
us.
managing this ship. Okay, well, yeah, he can teach us. So sure, let's.
My
do that.
background is sailor. I should be able to learn at least something about it.
I'm sure you'll be able to learn that.
Yeah. Ambrosio.
Ambrosio?
That's fancy.
Vance, you teach us teach crew how to manage ship if we take ship.
I mean,
I'm really lost here.
So am I.
Out of
will
character.
will Vance teach us how to use the ship appropriately?
The whole time Keely's like, should we take this
I'm
ship?
not lost. Vance is the one who's lost.
Oh, sorry. that
okay,
was-
okay, I thought that was yeah.
Okay. He say we will be given ship if but you would come with us. You'd be part of crew. But if you come with, we can take the ship. If you don't, it may be hard.
Do I get a larger share?
You would be part of crew. In Keely crew is equivalent share.
So I get a larger share than I would have gotten.
Well, how much did you get?
He kind of points at the size of the other ship. So I'd get a bigger share.
Smaller crew, bigger share.
Yeah, generally.
Yeah, okay.
All right, we'll keep the ship.
And
Welcome to.
the bosun, good, hops up on the ramp. Vance, get your shit.
Pick up our stuff too.
I mean, if you need it.
Well, I mean, like,
Yes.
And he
we
does
could
this
have Vance pick
waddle
up his
thing
stuff.
across
the stuff.
No, no, let's get all our
the
stuff.
thing.
You put it
There is a deck crew coming across to do things like paint the boat so it doesn't look like an authority vessel entirely, and things like that.
Is there any way I can go speak to Agamemnon?
That's not his name.
Agramondia.
Aggie.
Mondi.
His name is fucking Aggie
Mondi.
now.
Call him
Mondi.
Mondi. That's what he asked us
Mondi.
to call him. Mondi is his nickname.
Mondi, thank you.
Archimongo.
So yeah, you eventually find Agramondius. He's supervising repairs to the various parts of the ship that have been beaten and battered by fire and cannonballs and shit.
Of the people to show the helmet to, he'd be the one.
That's step one. I'm not just going to show it to him. I'm going to give him the helmet.
So you show up, Agramondius. What can I do for you, Daxter?
One hand. Offer him the helmet. Straight up.
He looks it over, sniffs it, licks the metal, puts it on his head. There is a moment where his eyes go kind of cross-eyed, and then he kind of looks around. Oh, not very fashionable, but it's useful. What's next?
How many of you came with me?
Unless
We would have
dragged along, he was
stuff.
kind of staring into the distance like disbelief.
Tursta's up in the rigging making a nest in the crow's nest.
But she is holding a sword, so I would think it'd be very apparent that she should be coming with.
I'd pull the eye out and ask him what is this and how.
He looks at it, kind of turns it over a couple times. He goes, "It's magic."
Can you tell me how to work it?
It's an eye.
Can you put it in? He gestures to his own eye, matching the one that the guy pulled it out of.
I mean, he looks at it. He looks at your face. He looks at it, kind of shrugs.
Well, this is out of character. Is there any possibility that any of us could use that helmet to control the self-fighting swords?
It is unlikely. It was not intended for that. It was intended as, hey, this is how that guy did what he was doing.
Gotcha.
The roll would be prohibitively difficult and then would basically ruin your ability to do
Function
your
elsewhere.
job.
Ever get a date?
And the shrug is less like, no, I can't, and more like, I mean, maybe. You want me to try?
How confident are you?
7.
He's confident he won't get hurt.
Big one. Bring swords.
Yeah, definitely a 7.
Sure. Let's do it. I mean,
He rummages in a toolbox and pulls out what looks like a spoon. And it looks like a spoon because it is a spoon.
that's great. This is encouraging.
Which he kind of jams in your eye
Ow.
and scoops out the existing ocular device there. So it's kind of hanging out by like whatever wiring and tubes connect it to your robot brain. Which he kind of like looks at the eye you gave him, looks at it, makes another like, I guess, kind of noise. Pulls your pre-existing eye out altogether. Hooks up little like suction cups to the back of the eye you gave him, which he hooks to the little tubes and wires that were attached to your previous eye, and then he kind of jams it in your face. And you can
All in
see,
all, a very unpleasant sensation.
you can see you're pretty confident about that, but it's weird. And he kind of gives you a thumbs up. He's like, "You can see?
Yeah.
Well, good luck."
Out of character, since there's really no chance of us using that helm, I was going to give it to him as A, repayment for losing his feet, and B, for installing the eye for me. If nobody else minds. I mean, there's nothing we can really do with it.
No.
I don't give a shit.
That helmet's sort of creepy, man.
Also, like,
Don't let Horgrim get a hold of it.
as you're watching him, like, he jams the thing in his eye. He's been doing other things. As you're watching him, suits of armor are now, like, marching down the hallway carrying scrap metal. And you're pretty sure
no.
the scrap metal is their friends, like the other suits of armor that were killed.
Did I make a big mistake here?
No, I think you gave Agramondius the amount of help that he wants.
I think there will no longer be repair crews. There will just be Agramondius. And like you're blinking, the eye feels weird. It hasn't done anything yet. You don't know what it will do for sure, but it's in your head.
Yay.
We're still traveling in the same direction that these guys are, right? So, like, in the event that we need
Yeah.
to talk to them.
Like currently you're traveling almost like alongside each other as they're moving materials back and forth. There's a little like runabout and people, you know, hanging over the side painting the ship and stuff like that.
Oh, during that process, I assume that they would discover the name of the ship and give that to us.
Yeah, which I typed it in chat already.
Yeah.
Ambrosio.
I'm sorry, what did I miss?
And yes, Bolo, I leaned down and said, "First mate," as I went on to the old ship.
And I will note that the bosun very specifically did not address Keeley as a captain. at any time.
Oh,
Honestly, she probably wouldn't have noticed. She's too caught up in the moment of having.
Just do. I have a ship. She was too distracted. She's having an in-character moment.
So as you guys get aboard the new ship, there's painting going on, there's, repairs going on.
Supply.
There are pieces that are removed from it for being like dangerous dangerous authority tech or dangerous authority hardware that you guys are unprepared to deal for. In the event that that's a weapon that, like, oh, this is crucial, you got to have some of these, something replaces them. But in general, it is things that are dangerous to your continued life are removed before you get to them by Agramondius or a legion of suits of armor dressed in improvised harnesses covered in tools.
so they're giving us the easy mode ship.
Yeah, something
For
that
now.
we. Yeah. We have a ship. We have a ship. We have a ship.
That is
Turnstile has made.
thing.
Turnstile has totally made a crow's nest.
And after
We're gonna go plummeting out of that thing at some point.
after about a week, you're traveling about a week alongside you guys, sending things back and forth. The actual. No, because he wouldn't. So Agramondius is finished repairs and stuff, finished modifications, and he's aboard kind of checking things out for the last time. He's like, so, I've spoken to Travelers. We're going to turn things to port and go see if we can wreak a little hell. Get all the, what are they called? Authority folks chasing our tail. You're going to beat it straight on to Etheric East. Etheric West. I'm sorry. Etheric West. Along the Gilder's Way. Vance has got the coordinates. Don't worry about it. Straight along to the Etheric West. Gilder's Way. Eventually you'll find the fleet.
And we'll meet up with the gold plume.
And the rest of the fleet.
Gotcha.
He just throws her wings in the air. I see Dad!
And for the record, Travers expects you to repay this favor.
I'm sure he'll find us.
And he clambers over the side kind of awkwardly into the little runabout that brought him over and gives you all a wave. Good luck! Don't die!
Same to you! Give him a little salute.
Also, at this point, you guys would realize that the runabout that he's clambered aboard, which is full of animated suits of armor, is being piloted by what appears to be an animated suit of armor that is hardwired into the steering column. Like there's no wheel.
He's just driving it now.
With his brain.
That's wait. So like, so Agramondius is still actually
Certainly
driving
not
it.
Come back and bite us in the ass.
But Agramondius is actively driving our ship, or is it just?
He's
the runabout.
programmed it?
The thing
Fair
that
enough.
moving between the two vehicles, he has his own
Right.
thing.
That's
And this is
harsh.
terrifying because he can make more suits of armor now. This is
Keely watches him go and just is like, I like him.
Yeah, he's
So that is
definitely a car.
that is where we will end the session, with you guys banging it to the west and then banging it south, trying to give you a distraction.
Fun times.
Yeah.
Awesome.